Hi everyone. So today we will continue muscular system. In this lecture, we will discuss about the liver systems, muscle origins and insertions, surface of some important muscles, and the intermuscular injection sites. Okay, so the muscular system. So when we talk about the muscular system, it is only include the voluntary muscles. Okay, so this is only discuss about the skeletal muscles. So this is what we call the muscular system. And this muscular system and the muscle tissue contribute to some homeostasis, okay, by producing movement, stabilizing body positions, regulating organ volume, for example, pumping the blood from the heart, moving substances within the body, okay, and also producing heat, like during cold weather, our body performs shivering, which is producing heat to increase the body temperature. The muscle and the bones create a mechanical system that is called levers. Okay, so liver is mechanical system in our body that is created by the muscles and the bones, and this give some movements of our body. Each end of muscle is attached to bone with a connective tissue that is called tendon. So tendon is a band of connective tissue that attaches bone to muscle or muscle to bone. Okay, this is what we call the tendon. And the tendons that attach to the more movable bone is called insertions. The one that attach to the less movable bones is called the origins. So examples, we can use these elbow joints. Okay, so when we contract our bicep, so this is the muscles, okay, and this bicep is actually have two attachment or two tendon. The first one is attached to this scapula over here on the top, and the second one is the one that attached to the radius ulna bone. So when we contract the bicep, you know that this radius ulna will move up, what we call the flexion. So if you see these two bones, is actually, the radius ulna is the bone that more movable, and the scapula and the humerus over here is the one that really less movable. So therefore, if you see these tendons over here, okay, so this tendon over here, it is called the insertions. Okay, because this is attached to the movable bone. The other tendon, so gonna be this one, is attached to the less movable bone. Therefore, this tendon is called the origin. Okay, so the muscle have two tendons, the origins and the insertion. The middle part of the muscle itself is called the belly. Okay, so belly, origin, and insertion. So this is three parts of muscle that attach to our bones and move our bones, our skeleton. Okay, so again, this is the schematic picture of this muscle part. Again, the middle part is called the belly, which is actually the meat or the muscles. And the two part is the tendon over here. The one that attached to the movable part is called insertions. The tendon that attached to the less movable bone is called the origin. So origin, belly. So origin, belly, and insertion. So this is part of the muscle that attach to our bone. And the basic movement is given by the system called the liver system. So the liver system is the mechanical system in our body that move our skeletons, our body. So there are four components of this liver system. The first one, of course, is the bone. So this bone over here, radius ulna, humerus, scapula, all of them is called the liver. So this is the first part, which is the bone itself is called the liver. And the fixed points, usually the joint, is called the fulcrum. So this is the second part of the liver system, the fulcrum. The next part is called the load, which is the resistance or the weight that is present in our body. So this is the resistance or the load. Sometimes we don't carry anything, it will still have the resistance, still have the load. Okay, so this is the third part of the liver, which is the load or the resistance. And the last one is the effort, which is the contraction that is given by the muscles. So this is what we call the effort or E. And this is going to be the fourth components of the liver system. Okay, so liver system consists of bone, fulcrum, the load, and the effort. So the muscle that whose attachment is farther from the fulcrum or from the joint usually gives stronger force. Like for example, our thigh muscles is give a very strong force when we kick something from our hip joint. Right? The muscle that attach closer to the joints give a greater range of motion. Like for example, in our hand, our finger, the attachment is very close to one another. Okay? So it's give greater range of motion and also the speed. However, the force is actually less compared to this longer attachment muscle. Okay, so the muscle that has a closer attachment give wider range of motions and also speed, but it will give less force compared to the muscle that have longer attachment site. Okay, classification of liver system. There are three types of liver system or classes. The first one is of course called the first class liver. Okay, and this is EFL. So the effort coming before the fulcrum and the load. Okay, so the fulcrums will be in the middle. The effort comes first. And the load will be the last over here. So if we look at our skull, so we able to move our head, okay, up and down, right? So mostly, if we don't have any contractions, our head will be going down because there is a load in our head, in our face. So if someone that's sleepy, they usually their face falling down, because what there is a load over here. In order to lift it up, then the effort have to be made, which is the effort is coming from contractions of muscles in our neck. So this neck muscle, when it is contract, it will lift the face up. And this is actually what happens with us every day. We keep our face up because there is a contraction or effort that coming from these muscles in our neck. And the fulcrum or the joint is located here between the second vertebrae, is called axis, and the skull. So this is the EFL, the first class lever. So the second one is called the second class lever. This is FLE. So the fulcrum is the first, and then the load will be in the middle, which is actually the load of or the weight of our body, and the effort is coming less. Okay, the muscle contractions in our back of the leg. Okay, so if we want to lift up our body, okay, we have to do the effort from this muscle. So when this muscle contracted, and will lift up our body, load in the middle, and the fulcrum, the fixed point stay, then our body will be lifting up. So this is the second class lever, FLE. And the third one is called the third class lever. This is FEL. So the fulcrum comes first. Like example, this is a elbow joint, and the effort is in the middle, which is the bicep muscles over here. When the bicep contracted, what happened? It will flex our elbow. It will lift our lower arms. Okay, this is flexion. So our hand over here is the load. So FEL. So this is the third class of lever. So in our body, again, there are three classes of lever system. First class lever, EFL. The second class lever, FLE. And the third class lever, FEL. So some muscles, they also perform coordination. Okay, so when we move our body, sometimes it's not only one muscle contraction, sometimes it is more than one muscle contraction. Or even sometimes there are some muscles that have to coordinate when one muscle contract and the other muscle should be relaxed. So this is the coordinations within our muscle groups. There are several types of coordinations. The first one is called the agonist or prime mover, and this is usually the main muscles that produce movement to a certain direction. So when this agonist or the prime mover contracts, it will move our body to certain direction. The antagonistic muscles is going to be pairs muscles. This is the 2 or 3 or 4 muscles that work in opposite way. So if one muscle contract, the other muscle should be relaxed. Examples, when we talk about the elbow joints, okay, you have muscles over here. It's called bicep in the front. And on the back of your upper arm, you have muscle called the triceps. Okay, so when you flex your elbow, which is the bicep will be contracted, then the triceps should be relaxed. Okay, so this is these two muscles is called the antagonistic muscles. One contract, the other one will be relaxed. If you contract the bicep, what happens? Your elbow will be extended. So this is extension. Okay? So when the triceps contracted, then the biceps should be relaxed. Okay, so again, this is examples of antagonistic muscles. The next one is called the synergistic muscle. This is also pair of muscle. But this one, both muscle will give contraction to move our body to the same directions. Okay, so just for information, when we flex our elbow, there is a muscle over here, bicep, that will be contracted. There is another muscle that actually also needed to perform this contraction. So these two muscles will perform contraction to move our body or part of our body to same direction. And this is what we call the synergistic muscle. This muscle, the other muscle is called the brachialis muscles. Okay, so brachialis muscle, which is located next to the bicep. Okay, sometimes we only think that on the bicep that will flex the elbow. It is not. Actually, there are two muscles that work together to flex our elbow, which is bicep and brachialis. So this bicep and brachialis is called a synergistic muscle. The last one is this group of muscle that is called the fixators. And this is the muscle that fix or stabilize the origin or the bones, the prime mover. So therefore, it will not going away. It will stay on in its place. Like for example, if we rotate our shoulder, if you form the rotation or circumductions on our elbow, there will be muscles like latissimus dorsi muscles in our back that will keep our bones, our humerus and the joints over there in its place. And this group of muscle is called the fixator. Okay, so that's how the muscle move with the liver system and also muscle coordination. Now, just for your information, there are about 700 muscles, skeletal muscle that is actually located in our body. And this muscle make some movement possible, even some expression possible. Like for example, so when we smile, when we are laughing, when we are talking, for example, it will give some expressions in our face. This is actually coming from the muscle contraction and relaxation in some of our facial muscle. So there are about 700 different type of muscles in our body. How they're named? Okay, usually they name based on their characteristics, sometimes their directions, how they go, okay, and the size of the muscle, the shape of the muscle, the actions, how many origins, okay, the number of origins, their locations can also give the idea about their name, and the site of origins and the insertion. So basically, muscles will be given names for some of their characteristic, location, origin, and etc. Okay, example. This is examples of name of muscle. On the back of our upper arm, we have what we call the Tricep Brachii. Okay, so brachii is actually location. Okay, this is arms, especially upper arm. So you know this muscle will be located in the upper arm. That's brachii mean. Tricep, the name is telling you there is three. There is three origins. There is three origin of this muscle. So this muscle actually have three tendons for the origins. So only one tendon as its insertion. So three origins, three origin that this muscle have. So this muscle have the name Tricep Brachii, which is the upper arm muscle that have three origins. Look at another example over here, Quadratus Femoris. So the name, the femoris over here is telling you this is location. So femur is the thigh. Okay, so this muscle located in our thigh. So this is thigh muscle. Quadratus. Okay, this is quadrat, square. Okay, it has a shape like a square. Has a square shape. So this is the name of these muscles. Quadratus femoris. Look at another name over here. This muscle is actually located in the anterior side of our body. So that's the name is telling you on the anterior side. And this is serratus. Serratus means muscle that look like teeth. Okay, so have a teeth like appearance. Okay, so this is what we call the serratus. Okay, so Serratus Anterior, this is saw-toothed edge muscle that's located in the anterior part of our body. This is actually in the front of our body, under our chest area. So we're gonna see these muscles later. So this is examples how the muscles are given name, okay, based on their characteristic, location, origin, and other things. Okay, now we're gonna see some of the major skeletal muscles in our body. We're gonna start from the anterior view or anterior side. Okay. Okay. Let's see from the top over here. Let's see on the frontal, just on the frontal. In the frontal bones, we have muscle called the frontalis. Okay, so this is the frontalis muscles. When we contract it, it's gonna leave our eyebrow, right? So this is frontalis. Orbicularis oculi. Okay, oculi mean eyes. Okay, orbicularis means circle. So this is the muscle that's circling the eyes. This is the one that actually will close our eyes. Okay, Zygomaticus. Remember, zygomatic means cheek. So this is muscles on our cheek. Masseter, this is also in the cheek under this zygomaticus, and usually used for helping in chewing. Orbicularis oris, again, orbicularis means circle, oris means mouth. So this is muscle that circle our mouth. Okay? When we kiss, for example, we're gonna use this orbicularis oris muscle. Sternocleidomastoid muscle. This is muscle on the neck. This is the one that moves our head. So when we say no, 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 it's actually using this muscle contraction, okay? Sternocleidomastoid muscle. Deltoid muscle, this is in the shoulder over here. And when we contract this muscle, what happens? Our arms will be lifted up. Okay, so this is abduction. Okay, so when you abduct your arm, it is actually using mostly the deltoid muscle. Okay, pectoralis major, this is what we call the pec muscle. So if you do exercise, you know this is the pec muscle. And this is the one that helps us when we rotate our shoulder or also perform the adduction. When you take your arm down close to your body, this is called the adduction. It's usually done by this pectoralis muscle. Bicep brachii. So this one over here in the front part, and the name is telling you this is brachii mean upper arm, and bicep, this muscle have two origins. We're gonna see that two origins later. Okay, and this is the other muscle. It's called the brachialis. I mentioned before bicep brachii and brachialis. This is the two synergistic muscle that will flex our elbow. Okay, so this is flexion. So this is synergistic muscle, bicep brachii and brachialis. Brachioradialis, this is muscle that can be used to rotate or twist our arms over here. Let's see, this is gracilis, vastus medialis. So this is part of the thigh muscles, quadriceps femoris. Okay, usually when we contract this muscle, it will extend our knee. So this is usually for extensions of the knee. Okay, gastrocnemius, which is muscle on the back of our leg over here. When we contract it, it will put this foot down. Okay, this is called the plantar flexions. Okay, remember the movement on the joint. Some of them is called flexion, plantar flexion, dorsi flexion, and etc. So gastrocnemius can perform plantar flexion. Soleus muscle, this is also helping to twist our leg. Okay, I'm gonna go to the top again, the trapezius muscles over here, is it? On the shoulder and neck area. Serratus Anterior, remember serratus means it look like teeth. So this muscle is look like a teeth. And it is located in the anterior part of our body. This is also used to perform, adduction, circumductions together with this pectoralis major muscle. External oblique, rectus abdominis. This is the muscle of our abdomen. It's helping us, for example, when we perform sit-ups, it will be using these abs muscles. This is ab muscles. This is pec muscle. Okay. Extensor fasciitis. This is on the thigh and the leg. Sartorius, this is also legs muscles or thigh muscles. Rectus femoris, this is also part of the thigh muscle. Adductor longus is going to be in the middle side, in the groin area over here, and the name is telling you the function actually. So this is when we perform adductions in our thigh. Adduction means when you move your leg from outside to the middle. Okay? So when you move your leg over here, let's say from outside going to the middle, this is what we call the adduction. It's performed mainly by this adductor muscle. Vastus lateralis, this is part of the quadricep muscles, the thigh muscle, the femoris muscle. Fibularis longus, tibialis anterior, this is the muscles in the front of our legs. And if we contract this muscle, it will lift the foot. And this is what we call the Dorsi Flexions. So Dorsi Flexion is performed by contraction of tibialis anterior muscle. Extensor digitorum, this is the muscle that will extend the digit, the toes over here. This is the extensor digitorum longus muscle. So these are examples of muscles in the front part of our body. On the back part, in the posterior side of our body, we have on the side over here temporalis muscle. This muscle is important when we chewing our food. It's lift our mandible up when we contract it. And then occipitalis, this is on the back, on the occipital bone. Trapezius muscle, we already see it also from the front, some of them. So this is on the back. This is also the muscle that will help to move our shoulder when we perform circumductions, abductions. Deltoid muscle, we already see it from the front also. Teres minor and teres major. This is also muscle that used for movement in our shoulder over here. Tricep Brachii, this is on the back, and this is the one that will extend our elbow. Bicep femoris, this is part of the hamstring muscle, the muscle on the back of our thigh. Usually if we contract this, it will flex the knee. So this is for knee flexion. Consists of semi-tendinous, semi-membranous. So all of this muscle is actually part of a group of muscle. It's called the hamstring muscles. And then gastrocnemius, we already mentioned that. And calcaneal tendon, this is the tendon, this is the actually connective tissue that connect this gastrocnemius with the calcaneus bones, the heel bone. Infraspinatus, this is also the one that helps moving our shoulder. Circumduction, adductions, rhomboid muscles is similar. Latissimus dorsi, this is on the back of our body. It's a big muscle that we use for sit up and stand up, for example. This is the muscle that keep our body stabilized during standing up or sitting down. External oblique, this is actually from we see it from the front area also. The butt muscles or the buttock muscle, this consists of Gluteus Maximus. This is the big one over here. This is smaller one is called medius. There is another one is called the Gluteus Minimus, which is under the Gluteus Maximus. If we cut this muscle, then you will see the Gluteus Minimus muscle. And this is also help during movement of our hip over here when we perform circumductions, for example, rotation, it's gonna be using these gluteal muscles. Adductor, we already mentioned that adductor muscle in the middle part. This is the function is coming from the name, adductor. So this is adduction muscle, the one that will perform adduction. Brachialis muscles, vastus lateralis. This is part of the Quadratus Femoris muscle. Sartorius, fibularis longus, and soleus muscle. So these are some of major muscles on the posterior part of our body. We're gonna survey one by one now, based on the location. So on the face, so facial muscle, the one that give the facial expressions, okay, when we're smiling, laughing, crying, and etc. Okay, these actually given by these muscles, okay, muscle of facial expression. Many of them, I'm gonna just put example 4 of these muscles here. Orbicularis oculi, and again, oculi mean eyes. Orbicularis means circle. So this is the muscle that circle the eyes. So circling the eyes. Okay, so this muscle usually used for closing our eyes. Levator palpebrae. So palpebrae mean eyelids. So levator mean lifting. Okay, elevation. So it's lifting our eyelids. Therefore, it's gonna be open the eyes. Orbicularis oris. Oris mean mouth. Orbicularis means circling. So this is the one that circles the mouth over here. For packing the mouth. Okay, kissing, for example. Baxinator muscle. These muscles here in the bottoms over here. This is really important when we performing like whistling, blowing, sucking, chewing, okay, compressing our cheek over here. It is given by this contraction of this baxinator muscle. So compressing the cheek, including whistling, blowing, sucking, chewing. This is done by baxinator muscle and also by some other muscle over here. Masseter, temporalis, all of these muscle will give the facial expression. Okay, let's go closer to the muscle that move our mandible, our lower jaw, up and down, or maybe front to back. Okay, there are 3 main muscles for perform this. The first one is called the temporalis, and the name is telling you this is located in the temporal bone. So this is the temporalis muscle. When you contract it, it will lift our mandible over here. So the lower jaw. The second one is masseter muscle. These muscles on the cheek over here is a really big muscle that also move our mandible. And if we cut this masseter muscle, then we will see the pterygoid muscles at the bottom. And this is also the one that performing the movement of the mandible. Okay, pterygoid muscle. Okay, again, the temporalis muscles, the masseter, and under the masseter there is a pterygoid muscle for mandible movement. Now eyeballs. Okay, remember you able to move your eyeballs left and right, up and down. Sometimes you can twist it, your eyeball also. You can sit down, up, left, and right. You can move the eyeball. Why? Because there is a skeletal muscle that attached to this eyeball. There are actually 6. Okay, each eyeball will have 6 skeletal muscle that move this eyeball. And this sixth muscle is called the extrinsic muscles of the eyeball. 4 of them is called rectus. Okay, so rectus means straight. Okay, straight like horizontal or straight vertical. Okay, so this is what we call the rectus muscle. Right? There will be 4 of them: superior, inferior, lateral, and medial. Superior means is straight on the top. So this is superior rectus muscles. Okay. Inferior means at the bottom. So this is going to be the inferior rectus muscle. Okay. Lateral means outside of the middle area. If it is nose, so this is the middle area of our body. The lateral will be here. So lateral rectus muscle. Okay. And the medial mean is closer to our nose. So this is going to be medial rectus muscle. So these are the 4 rectus or straight muscles. Okay. Superior rectus. So you can see also on the top over here. Inferior rectus. It's going to be here at the bottom. Okay. Lateral rectus is going to be this one. Okay, and this one over here, and the medial rectus will be here. For this, the top picture over here, you will not see it because it's going to be covered by these eyeballs. Okay, and there are 2. The one that is oblique. Oblique means diagonals. Okay, this is a diagonal muscle. It is not straight muscle. Okay, it's called the oblique. It's going to be 2 of them: superior. Superior oblique on the top. This superior oblique over here. And the inferior obliques over here. So it's a diagonal direction. Okay, inferior oblique at the bottom. Superior and inferior oblique. So how this muscle will move the eyeball? Let's say, for example, if you want to move your eyeball to the, this is going to be right eyes, right? It's going to be to the right. Then what happened? This lateral rectus should be contracted. The medial rectus will be relaxed. Okay, so these lateral medial muscles will be antagonistic muscles. Okay, antagonistic muscle. Because one relaxed, the other one contracted. So if you want to move your eyeball out, then lateral rectus will be contracted, the medial rectus will be relaxed. If you want to move your eyeball up, which one has to be contracted? It's going to be the superior rectus. The inferior rectus should be relaxed. Okay, so this superior and inferior, okay, they are also antagonistic muscle. Okay, so they work in opposite way. If you want to move your eyeball down, then the inferior rectus has to be contracted. The superior rectus has to be relaxed. Okay, this is how to move your eyeball left, right, up, and down. Now, how about you're gonna, if you want to twist your eyeballs a little bit, you can do it also by moving or contracting this oblique muscle, superior oblique and inferior oblique. And again, both of these superior oblique and inferior will be antagonistic muscles too. Okay, one relax, the other one contract. And this movement is controlled by our nerve. There are 12 cranial nerve. Okay, 12 cranial nerve. 3 of them, which is cranial nerve number 3, number 4, and number 6. This is the one that will control this movement of the eyeball. Okay? So this, all of this nerve will be the motor, will carry the motor neurons. Remember, motor neuron is the one that go to your muscle, release the acetylcholine, and it will start the contraction. Okay, so this cranial nerve number 3, number 4, and number 6 will send the motor neurons that will control the eyeball movement. The muscle that move our tongue. Remember, when you move our tongue, you can do it. Because what? Because tongue is actually controlled by skeletal muscle. Remember, all the skeletal muscle that is voluntary. The muscle that you can order or control to perform the contraction. And there are 4 of these muscles that move your tongue. All of them will finish with glossus. So glossus means tongue. So glossus means tongue. So you know this is going to be tongue muscle. Okay. And the first word, the genio, stylo, palato, and hyo is actually telling you the location of the origin. So this is actually the name of the bones that make the tendon the origin for this glossus muscle, the tongue muscle. Genioglossus, this muscle over here is start from the mandible. So the origin is actually coming from the mandible bone and then go to the tongue. So this is the genioglossus muscle. And then styloglossus muscle. And the origin is coming from the bone. Part of the temporal bone is called the styloid process over here. And this is give this origin for this muscle. So this muscle then is called the styloglossus muscle. Palatoglossus, the name is telling you, is going to be coming from the upper jaw, the palatine over here. So there is a group of 2 bones on the top, on the roof of our mouth. It's called the palatine. And when the origin of the muscle coming from this palatine, giving to this tongue muscle, then this muscle is called the palatoglossus. And the last one is hyoglossus. Remember, there is hyoid bones in our neck. This is the only one bone that is not connected with other bones. So when the muscle start from these hyoid bones, go to the tongue. This is muscle that we call as the hyoglossus muscle. It starts from or originated from the hyoid bone and making these tongue muscles. So again, there are 4 skeletal muscles that move, control our tongue movement. Genioglossus, originated from mandible. Styloglossus originated from the styloid process. Palatoglossus originated from palatine. And hyoglossus originated from hyoid bones over here. The muscles in the floor of the oral cavity, digastric muscles. Digastric muscles, these muscles over here, and there is a styloid muscle. Styloid. And the name is telling you is connected the styloid process and the hyoid bones over here. So crossing from styloid to the hyoid bone, this stylohyoid. Mylohyoid muscles, gonna be the big ones over here. It's also going to the hyoid bones over here. So this is the muscle on the floor of our mouth. Now this is important over here, the Sternocleidomastoid muscle. This is the big muscles on the neck that move our head. Okay, so the movement of heads, okay, possible because of this sternocleidomastoid muscle. There are also some muscle that help that movement, stabilize the movement. It's called the scalene muscle. Okay, scalene muscle is the muscle that connected from our vertebrae on the neck. Okay, the vertebrae, the cervical vertebrae, it is connected to the ribs, okay, especially the top ribs. Okay, it's going to be anterior scalene, middle scalene, and posterior scalene. And these muscles will give the possible of our neck movement and head movement. Okay, the abs. Okay, the abs muscles. There are four actually. There are four abs muscles. Three of them is on the side, and one of them is in the middle. And this is the one that usually give the six packs, or if you not really exercise, maybe only give you one pack of this muscle. So this is coming from the Rectus Abdominis muscle, which is the muscle that is in the middle of the ab. Okay? So three of them on the side. So this is actually three layers over here on the side. Okay. The outside layer is called the external oblique, going one diagonal direction. Okay, it's not straight. And then internal also oblique. It's going to be go to the opposite diagonal direction. So if you see this one, this is the external oblique, go diagonal direction. And under it, there is a second layer, it's called the internal oblique, going to the opposite direction, but still diagonal. And the last one is transverse. This is going to be the one that's straight. So this is transverse, straight, horizontal muscles at the inside layer. So the side of our body, it has three layers. The side of our ab, okay, and the middle of our ab is actually one layer, this one over here, and this is the rectus abdominis, and this performance of muscle will give us the six packs type of abs. Okay, the muscle that used for breathing, so we can also force our breathing. We breathe in, breathe out. We can force it because we have this skeletal muscle that control our breathing voluntarily. Okay? The big one is called the diaphragm. This is the muscle that's located between the thoracic cavity and the abdominal pelvic cavity. Okay? So there is a border between these two cavities, and this border is actually made of muscle, skeletal muscle. It's called the diaphragm, and this is a really important muscle over here. If this muscle doesn't work, usually you will die because you cannot breathe. If there is a toxins that paralyze this muscle, then people will die because of this difficulty of breathing. The second one is called the external intercostal muscle. So if you see, this is what we call the costae, ribs. So between the rib, there is actually muscle. There is a muscle. There is actually two layers of muscle. Layer outside is called the external, and the layer inside, this is called the internal. So therefore, there are two layers of intercostal muscle, the external intercostal muscle and the I'm sorry, this is external intercostal muscle and the internal intercostal muscle. Okay. So these are the three muscles that help us breathing. Now, how they control it? Okay, when we breathe in, when we breathe in, or during inhalations, inspirations, so inhale. When we inhale the air, two muscles will be contracted, which is diaphragm and the external intercostal muscle. So this is using for inhalation. So this muscle will be contracted. How about the internal? The internal should be relaxed. Okay, this one should be relaxed. This one, these two muscles, synergistic. Okay, this is synergistic muscle. They work together in the same directions. Number 3 over here, when we compare with number 1 and 2, this is gonna be antagonistic muscles. So groups relax, the other one contract. Okay. So diaphragm external intercostal will be synergistic. Diaphragm external compare with the internal, they're gonna be antagonistic. So during inhalations, these two muscles, diaphragm and external, will be contracted. The internal will be relaxed. During expirations, or exhalation, only one will be contracted. Which one is that? The internal intercostal muscle will be contracted. The other two, diaphragm and external intercostal, will be relaxed. This is how we breathe. Now, what is actually coming when we contract this muscle over here during inhalation? So when we contract the diaphragm and external muscles, the thorax, the chest will be bigger. Okay, the chest will be bigger. So when the chest bigger, it's going to be ready to receive more air from outside. Therefore, we perform inhalation. Now, what happens when the internal intercostal muscle contract? Is actually will push the chest. The chest will be smaller. Just like you push a balloon. When you push the balloon, then the balloon will be smaller and the air will be out. The air out. So this is the exhalation. So this is how it's work. The internal intercostal muscle, when it is contracted, it actually will press our chest, become smaller. It will push the air out. The diaphragm and external intercostal muscle contracted, it actually will make our chest bigger, and then the air will be entering into our chest, into our lungs from outside. This is just how the diaphragm look like from the bottom. This is from the abdomen area. You see this one? It look like a umbrella. Okay, so let's say this is chest. Okay, this is your chest. This is abdomen. Okay, so we'll continue. So this diaphragm's muscle is look like umbrella. So when it is relaxed, it's actually curved like umbrella over here. When it is contracted, it's actually going down, become flat. Okay, so what happens if it is flat? Then the chest area become bigger. Okay? When the chest bigger, then the air will be entering into the lungs. Okay, this is how the diaphragm works. So again, when it is relaxed, it looks like an umbrella, look like a mushroom. When it is contracted, it's become flat, push down, and it will increase the volume of the chest. When the volume of the chest is increasing, then the air can move to this chest or to the lungs. Okay, so the next one is the muscles on the pelvic floor. So pelvic floor is the groin area over here. So there are three muscles actually. The big one is the coccygeus muscle. So we're gonna go from the bottom area. So this is coccygeus muscles and the floor. And the next one is gonna be this one. Okay, iliococcygeus muscles. And the last one is gonna be this. Okay, so this is the muscle that make this floor in the pelvic area. Right? So coccygeus, iliococcygeus, and pubococcygeus. Okay, I'm gonna give the number over here. This is number 1, coccygeus, number 2, iliococcygeus, and number 3, pubococcygeus muscle. Okay, now the female perineum muscles. Okay. So the first one is the urogenital triangle muscles. Okay, so this is triangle muscles over here. So the first one, external urethral sphincter, is actually here. You cannot really see it. Okay, sphincter muscles that close and open the urethra when the female urinate. Yeah, it's going to be controlled by this external urethral sphincter muscle. Ischiocavernosus. This is going to be these muscles over here. Okay, and the bulbospongiosus muscles. It's going to be these muscles over here. Right? So we're going to give the number. Number 1 is here. Number 2 is these muscles. And number 3 is these muscles. Okay? And this is the top triangle, the urogenital triangle muscles. The next one is the anal triangle muscles. Going to be the other triangles area. Right? Mostly going to be these sphincter muscles around the anus. This is the one that also control the feces. So you can stop, for example, you can cut the feces by contracting this external anal sphincter. The same thing with the male. It's very similar. It's going to be the urogenital triangles. External urethral sphincter, you cannot see it because this is inside the penis. There is a urethra, and at the top of the urethra opening, there is external urethral sphincter muscle. Ischiocavernicus is going to be the same. Okay, ischiocavernosus muscles going to be the same here, and the bulbo is over here. Bulbospongiosus muscle. Right, so that's top triangle, and the bottom one is going to be here the same. It's going to be this sphincter anal muscle. Okay, so external anal sphincter muscle. The muscle that move the arms, I think we already mentioned some of them already. The biggest one here, the pec muscle, the pectoralis muscle, and latissimus dorsi on the back. This is latissimus dorsi. This is number 2. This is number 1, pec muscle. Deltoid is going to be this one, number 3, deltoid muscle. Okay. Supraspinatus muscle. We can see from the back over here. Okay, so supraspinatus muscle. This is number 4. Infraspinatus muscle. This is going to be number 5 muscles over here. Suprascapularis. Okay. The top of the scapula muscles. Okay, scapula is these muscles. And then it's going to be difficult to see the suprascapularis, teres major and teres minor. So this is teres major over here, and this is the teres minor muscle. So these muscles, and with other muscle, of course, will move our arms. Okay, elbow muscles, the one that flex the muscles. The elbow will be 2, bicep brachialis and brachialis. Okay, bicep brachii and brachialis. And again, this is what we call the synergistic muscle. Muscle, 2 muscles that work together. Okay, so synergistic muscles, bicep brachii and brachialis. So if you see this bicep muscles over here, it has 2 origins. This is the first origin, and this is the second origin. Therefore, it's called the biceps, 2 origins, and 1 insertions over here. So 2 origin bicep. The brachialis muscles is this one over here on the side. Okay, so these 2 muscles will flex the elbow. The one that extends the elbow is going to be on the back. Okay, so there are also 2. The first one is Tricep Brachii, and the name is going to be 3 origin. You see this muscle? This is tricep over here. There are 3 origins. 1, 2. The other one you cannot really see it is blocked by this picture. So there are the other ones over here. So there it's coming from 3 origins, tricep, and all of them go to the same insertions over here. The second one is Antagonistic, is actually in the lower arms. This is the Antagonistic. And again, both of these muscles will be synergistic muscle that work together to extend the elbow. Okay, if we cut cross section of this upper arm, then you should be able to see these features over here. Okay? This is on the back. This is on the back, and this is at front. You see at front, these 2 over here is actually 1 muscle. It's called the bicep. It has 2 because it has 2 origins. On the back over here, you're gonna see 3. So this is actually 1 muscle. It's called the tricep. It has 3 origins. The other one over here on the front, this is the brachialis muscle. Okay, so this is how the compartment of the upper arms look like, the mid of the muscle look like. the muscle that pronate and flex the finger or the wrist. Okay, pronates our arm. Okay, so prone, and remember prone and supine position. Okay? Prone versus supine. Okay, so when you look your hand, okay, usually you look to your hand and you see this palms over here. If you see your palm, okay, so this position is called the supine. So you are in supine position when you are able to see your palm. But if you look your hand, okay, like this, and you see the dorsal or the other side of your palm, you cannot see your palm. So this position is called prone. Okay, so when you see back of your hand, you are actually seeing the prone position. Okay, just remember that first. Okay, so the one that pronate, okay, this means that the muscle that will twist your arm from supine, okay, from supine position to prone position. Okay, this is what we call the pronate. Okay, it will prone your arms. Okay? The muscle will be located in the supine area. Okay? It's going to be in the supine area. So the muscle is actually located on the area when you're able to see your palms. Okay? So when you contract this muscle, it will twist your supine position into this prone position. Okay? You're twisting your arms from looking to your palms, then you twist it, now you see your back of your palm. So that movement is called the pronation. Pronation. And the muscle is called pronator. So this is actually muscle that located here. So this is palm area. This is your palm. Okay. So this is the pronator muscles. At the same time, this muscle over here on the palm area is actually able to use for flexing your wrist and finger. So like for example, if you make a fist, if you fist your finger, like you want to hit someone, you make fist your finger. This is actually done by these muscles on your supine area of your arm, and all of this muscle is called the flexor muscle. Right? So this is the muscle that pronate and flex. Okay, pronate our arm and flex our wrist and finger. On the other side, so if you like, if you look at your hand, you don't see your palm, you're gonna see back of your palm. You are in prone position. So this is prone area, right? So this prone muscle can be used to twist your arm into supine position. The movement is called the supination, and the muscle is going to be called the supinator. And this supinator will be located on the prone side of your arm. This muscle can also use to extend your finger and wrist. So when you open your finger up from fist position, for example, you open it up, and that one is called the extension. You can even doing it more than extension. You can move your fingers away more than 180 degrees. That's gonna be hyperextension. Okay, hyperextension. And this is gonna be done by the muscles that located in your prone area over here. And this one is called the extensor muscles. Okay, now retinaculum. What is retinaculum? This is a tough connective tissue band. This is like band like this. Bands like this that connect the tendon from many directions of our muscles in our fingers, palms, and lower arm area. There is a band of this connective tissue or tendon, and this band is called the retinaculum. It's going to be two retinaculum. If you look at your finger palm, if you're able to see your palm, and you just imagine that you don't see the skin over there. If you take out all the skin on the wrist area, then you will find the retinaculum. And the retinaculum is called the flexor retinaculums on the palm area. What is its flexor? Because this retinaculum actually join or holds the muscle that able to flex your finger. Like you make a fist if you want to hit someone, that's actually flexing your finger. And it is, all of this tendon going to the same retinaculum is called the flexor retinaculum. On the other side, if you look at your hand and you see the back of your palm, then under that skin on the wrist, there will be another retinaculum. It's called the extensor retinaculum, because this retinaculum will hold the muscle that able to flex, extend your finger over here, open your finger over here. So extensor retinaculum on the back, flexor retinaculums on the palm side. This is just showing us some movement that we can move with our finger, like flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, oppositions, and etc. They're all going to the retinaculum done by muscles, whether extensor or flexor muscle. Muscle that move vertebrae, so we can move our vertebrae, we can bend our body, or we can bend left or right to our body because of this group of muscles. So the first one is spinalis muscle, and the name is telling you this is connecting the vertebrae to another vertebrae. If you see this is, let's say this is vertebrae, okay, like this. Okay. This is another vertebrae, for example, like this. This is the sharp area of the vertebrae over here. So this one over here is called the spine of the vertebrae process. Okay, so the muscle actually connects the spine with another spine. Therefore, it's called the spinalis muscle. So this one over here is the spinalis muscle. The second muscle is called the iliocostalis. I'm sorry, this should be S over here. Costalis. Coste means ribs. Okay, so it's gonna be located on the one that connect the ribs with another ribs with maybe hip bone. So this is iliocostalis. So this is number 2 group of muscles on the back. And the last one is longissimus. This is long muscle from the top to the bottom. So this is the longissimus muscle. So these three group of muscle make us able to move our back a little bit, bend our back left and right, back and forth, up and down. So this is the three group of muscle that perform these types of actions. Muscle that crossing the hip joint. There are several groups. Iliopsoas, this is in this area over here. This is consists of psoas muscles and the iliacus muscle. So the iliopsoas. The second group is, of course, the Quadratus Femoris, the muscle in the front and side, lateral side of our thigh. All of them is called the Quadratus Femoris. There are four muscles: Rectus Femoris, Vastus Lateralis, Vastus Intermedius, and Vastus Medialis. So these are the groups of Quadriceps femoris muscle, four of them. And then adductor muscle, of course, going to be in the middle area, in the groin area over here. Consists of pectineus, adductor, and gracilis muscle. So this is the one that perform adductions. Sometimes someone have a pull groin muscle. This is usually stretching of these iliopsoas muscles and the adductor muscle. You can feel pain inside the groin area, around the groin area. Muscles of the buttock and the thigh, the back thigh, on the back. So it's going to be gluteal muscles. Consists of maximus, medius, and minimus. So this is maximus being cut, then medius a little bit on the top, and gluteus minimus, you only see it when the maximus is being cut. So this is the three gluteal muscle. Hamstring, this is muscles on the back of your thigh. Consists of semimembranous, semitendinous, and bicep femoris. So all of this muscle over here in the same group is called the hamstring muscle. And again, some people have what we call the pull hamstring. This is actually happening in this group of muscles. Pain on the back of our thigh. And so again, this is the gluteus maximus. And it's going to be medius on the top. This is also site for injection. And then if we cut the maximus, then the minimus will be exposed. Okay, if we cut cross sections through the thigh, then there will be three main compartments. So when we cut this thigh over here, cross section, you're going to see three compartment group of muscle. So this is the front and side. The front and side, you're going to see this quadriceps femoris. Going to be consist of four muscles, right? And inside, in the middle, you're going to see the adductor muscles. So this is group of adductor muscles. This is adductor muscle. This is quadriceps femoris. Okay. And on the backs, you're going to see this hamstrings muscle. Hamstring. Okay, so these are the three compartments of muscle groups in the thigh. Muscle on the calf, on the back of our legs. The biggest one is this, going to be gastrocnemius. Gastro means belly. Okay, so belly. So if you see the muscle, it just look like a belly. Sometimes some people have a very big muscles over here. It's just like a big stomach, big belly. Okay, so that's gastrocnemius. There is a plantaris muscles, okay, over here, the plantaris muscle, soleus muscle. Okay, so in the side over here, tibialis posterior, in the back, flexor digitorum. So all of this muscle, we're gonna flex the digit or the toes. Mostly it's called the plantar flexion because it's going down. Okay, so plantar flexion. Okay, the same thing with this flexor hallucis. This is usually for big and little toe. Okay? So this is also performing the flexion, yeah, plantar flexion. And the front, the big one is going to be over here, the tibialis anterior. And this is the one that perform the Dorsi Flexions, moving your foot to the top. It's called the Dorsi Flexion. This can also inverse your ankle, inversion, extensor, and extensor hallucis. So this is also the muscle that will perform some flexion or extensions in this finger or toes. Shin split syndrome, this is usually soreness in the tibialis anterior muscles. Okay, plantar foot. So this group of muscles over here that able to move our toes. The group that moving the little toes is called the digiti dimini. And the hallucis group is the one that will control the movement of the big toe. So this is hallucis muscle. Pendule in the heel area. This is plantar fasciitis. Sometimes you feel that feeling really pains on the plantar area, especially if you don't wear a very good type of shoes. It might causing this plantar fasciitis. Okay, the last one is the IM, intramuscular injection. In general, there are three muscles that use for site for injection. The first one is gluteus medius. This is actually part of the quadricep femoris muscles. So this is the first site for injection. The second one is vastus lateralis, which is part of the gluteal muscles. I'm sorry. The first one is gluteus medius. It's going to be part of the gluteal muscle over here. Okay, butt muscle, buttock muscle. Vastus lateralis, it's going to be this one, which is part of the quadricep femoris muscle. And the deltoid, the shoulder muscle. Okay. Okay, this is the shoulder area over here. This is the three main part for the intramuscular injection. Intramuscular injection is actually very good because it's gonna be, will be able to deliver the medicines, okay, the chemicals faster than oral tablet or pills. However, it is less effective if compared to the IV. But IV is gonna be very difficult. Yeah? Nobody wants to get IV over and over, but they say okay for injection. Of course, the most convenient one is using the oral medicines, but it's sometimes not that effective. So usually this IM injection is very good, effective way to put the medicine inside into our body, just like vaccination, flu shot, for example, diabetes injections, insulin injection, is using this type of injection too. I think that's all for this chapter. I see you again on the next chapter. Goodbye now.